where is that place where you realise that you're putting a lot of stuff aside, you're making a lot of personal compromises? I heard you say that, this goes along with the job. I want to be a detective. I'm a good detective. So maybe I have to put up with this to make my way through this kind of maze. And then at what point is your soul being destroyed to the point where you realise that actually it's way beyond your tolerances? And then where do you go with that in those times, in that context, in that world? So I think that's something, would you be willing to sort of speak to that?
Yeah, definitely. No problem about it at all. So I started to look, there was lots of incidents that happened. There was a corruption incident later on at West End Central where they used my sexuality as a defence because I don't think I even whistleblower. Somebody reported something to me about a corrupt team and I escalated it. So it's hardly been a whistleblower, but nevertheless, they went, the police did take action and the persons involved went to prison. But that was police officers. This is in the 1980s. So then you're seen as a betrayer of the organisation by some people, not collectively across the board. I'm not saying that because that's really not right. But the reception I had when I was serving in the West End was that, you're seen as betrayer, And then the madness starts to come in, that you start to lose yourself and say, well, hold on a minute. You've got two things going on internally, conflict. One is, I did the right thing. I know that as Jackie. Secondly, the organisation did not, I'm saying this, bigger picture thing. It felt that the organisation, or some people in the organisation who were very senior, did not respect what I did. And there was this conflict. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was kind of losing myself, who I was. Because I think, well, why can't you see? Why can't you see? You see, I also have to say, and they've just been recently accused of it again by Baroness Casey, that she found the police in her report in 2022 extremely defensive. So if I was going to criticise the police, in my experience and in the 70s, 80s, they are completely, the culture is one of defensiveness. And the culture is nobody really understands us, nobody understands the job that we have to do, nobody understands what we have to put up with, and they kind of, instead of being open and transparent, which I'm suggesting they should have been, and that's how I was as a young cop, open and transparent all the way, but made a mistake, I'd say I've made a mistake, but there was like, oh, we can't admit to making a mistake type of thing. There will be consequences if we make a mistake. Well, actually, there is learning if you make a mistake. And my experience is, even dealing with minor complaints in the police, listen to the people that have got something to say, that they are heard, absolutely heard. And then this happened to me loads of times. And I'd say, look, I can't apologise on behalf of the commissioner. This was, going back in the 90s. But if I was sitting in your shoes, I would feel how you are feeling. And that's all they wanted to hear, that somebody heard them. And the complaint system is a lot more complicated than I've just described. But in essence, if you see what I mean. So I think my experience is the police were very, very defensive. And that manifested itself in, kind of different ways. I have gone out of the police, if you like. I've stepped out of this defensiveness. And for me, I just thought, well, this is madness. This is complete madness. So then I don't know, I just kind of, I just lost myself. I just started to lose who I was and everything else. I used alcohol to change the way that I felt. And then I realised that was madness as well, that over a period of time. So we're talking from the 80s and I'm now in 1992, and I think, I can't live like this. I cannot cope like this. I cannot, I cannot live with feeling who I am. And I don't like myself. And I don't like consequences of feeling, if I've consumed alcohol, I don't like the consequences of that. So I sought help for that. I've never had a drink since 1992. And then you start to find that your authentic self again over a period of time, and know that your inner tuition, which I lost, comes back. And then you start to build up that it doesn't really matter what other people think, as long as my own moral judgment, my own moral values are intact. That's what helped me the most.
That's such a powerful thing, isn't it? That even through the alcohol, which, when we use things like alcohol, they're anaesthetics, aren't they? We're anaesthetising something. And I've often found, that when you really dig deep, it's because someone's inner compass, someone's inner morality, or, whatever you want, inner ethics or inner sense of right, goes against the tide. And it's very hard, and it's amazing the amount of pressure that we will exert on ourselves until we can no longer do that, until we're about to destroy ourselves.